Joanna. Welcome to episode 76 of the SoulSmart Podcast. And this one is how to set up a journaling practice that really serves you. So I am so excited to share this episode with you, a conversation with Holly Worton about journaling and the secrets of journaling and the gold in journaling. And I think you're going to love it, whether you're just starting out or want to implement a journaling practice but haven't yet, or even if you are a seasoned journaler, because we are sharing so many ideas and tips with you in this episode. I just really think that there'll be something for everybody. We go through all the different kinds of journaling, even the kinds of journaling that don't involve writing. Yeah, that's right. There are kinds of journaling that don't involve the written word. We talk about where to journal, whether on a PC or in a notebook. And even how many notebooks one should have, how to choose the best method for you, how to know what to journal on. Like, this is, I think, the most important part of our conversation, just because I think this stops most people. Like, the blank page is a real deterrent. So we have loads of ideas for you to know what to journal on. And again, like the title says, this episode is about creating a journal practice that serves you. So this is not, it's not to tick journaling off your list. It's not to say that you did, just so that you can say that you did. This is really to create something that serves your growth, that serves your personal development, that serves your soul connection, that really helps you to feel better in yourself, to have whatever you need to move towards your goals, to help you create a life that makes you happy and that feels good. Yeah, and just to help you, like that's the point of it. So I really hope that you get lots out of this episode. And that's it. I am not going to go on here because we cover it all with Holly. I hope you enjoy. Hi, Holly.
Hello, Joanna.
Today we're talking about journaling. Are you excited?
Yay!
So, yes, we are talking about journaling, which is essentially writing down your thoughts in some way, or documenting your thoughts in some way, because actually it doesn't need to be writing, and we'll get to that in a minute, in order to process your emotions or identify patterns or document your life, or just kind of in general, I guess, tune into your inner world, I guess would be the way to phrase it. We wanted to record this episode because both Holly and I have had huge success with journaling. I think we've both been journaling for like ever, no?
On and off. Yeah.
On and off, sure. Yeah. Absolutely. But forever. Like I started my first diary when I was 11 years old, I think.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was one of those ones with a key.
Yes.
The pink ones. Actually, I recently found mine, and it's really boring. Because all it talks about is like listing all the boys I liked and complaining that my brother tried to read it.
I wish I had mine. Mine were in an old storage unit in California, and when my mother went to help me clear it out, I couldn't go. I asked her to just throw them away because I didn't want anyone to be reading them.
Sure.
So I just thought better to like get rid of them. But
yeah,
I regret it because I would love to see them.
Yeah, well, I was really excited to read mine, and it wasn't as thrilling as I expected it to be, Holly. So,
but did you get a good laugh out of it?
I did. Yeah, no, it was sweet. It was sweet,
Yeah.
and to see my handwriting and stuff, that was nice. Anyway, we digressed already, but yes, both Holly and I have had great success with journaling in terms of like having it support us, I guess, through decisions and through challenging times and through, mental clutter and all sorts of things. And I feel like not a lot of people do it. And I feel like I feel like a lot of people have a certain point of view about it and think it's not for them for whatever reason. And I just feel like there are so many different kinds that there's definitely something for you to try, even if you're one of those people. So I just wanted to we wanted to record this episode to like an ode to journaling.
Yay.
Right. So, Holly, why, like, what do you think the main benefit of journaling is? Like, why should people journal? Why do you journal?
To stay connected to myself, to reconnect to myself, to like, because I feel like life is so busy. We're always like rushing around doing stuff. My calendar is full from like morning till night. It's a way for me to make sense of the stuff that's going around in my head
Mm.
and like get it out of my head and onto a page and see it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's basically what it is, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm like, I don't have another answer. My answer is the same as Holly's. Like, really, it's for me, like, it's the best way that I know to stay in regular conversation with myself. And even when I don't know what that conversation should be about, just that
Yeah.
practice of sitting down with myself and saying, like, what's up?
Yeah.
Like, what's going on in there? Like, how am I feeling? What needs tending to? Like, it just regulates my nervous system and my emotional system in a way
Mm.
that really nothing else can,
Mm. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So obviously we're going to agree on that because we're having this conversation in the first place. But but I hope listeners, you can hear the passion for journaling that we both have.
Yes.
So, do you journal every day, Holly?
Lately, yes. Not always. I mean, I go through phases where I'm journaling every day, and right now I am because I'm doing a very specific daily gratitude practice. But sometimes I'll go weeks or even months without journaling.
And then do you miss it?
I don't miss it, but when I start it up again, I'm like, "Ugh, why did I stop?"
Yeah.
Because I
Yeah,
realize how good it makes me feel.
yeah. Yes, I'm the same. Like I go through phases and like sometimes I'll journal like multiple times a day
Yes,
because
yes.
I just turn to my notebook a lot and we'll get into this as well. Like I actually have lots of different notebooks for different things. Ooh, yeah, very complicated system. No, not really. Oh, maybe kind of. So, so I tend to go like check in with my different notebooks sometimes up to, several times a day. And but I don't do it like if I'm on vacation or something. I I'll bring a notebook just in case, but I usually won't actually journal because like, I'm out of my routine. So
Yeah.
I don't have like I always journal in when it like on the sofa in my office. I have a really beautiful big office and I have this sofa that's right next to my altar and I light some candles when I can be bothered. I can't always be bothered. And and it's like my space, it's like
Yeah.
my safe space where I can just chill,
Yeah.
breathe out and tune into what's going on. So yeah, so I also go through phases and then I find I do miss it, Holly. So this is why I asked you that
Ooh.
question and I don't think it's the actual journaling that I miss. I miss that self-connection. I think like
Yeah. Yeah.
when you when you're used to
Mm.
being in that conversation with yourself and kind of knowing what's going on in there and why you're feeling certain things or thinking certain things and you're just in that habit. I find that then when I'm away, when I get out of the habit, I can feel it.
Yeah, I think it's not that I miss the journaling, I miss the results I get from journaling.
Yeah. Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, I think for me it's not even the result, it's that quiet time. It's that
Yeah.
space by myself
Yes.
to be like just me
Yes.
and me. So let me ask you this, because you are a writer, of course, and journaling is associated with writers. And one of the reasons that people give for not journaling or not getting into it or whatever is that they're not a writer. How would you respond to that? Like, do you think they're connected? Do you think a person who doesn't consider themselves a writer or a good writer
Mm.
can journal or not?
Well, yeah, because it's not about writing beautifully. It's not about writing artfully. It's just about downloading the stuff in your head into somewhere. So whether that's like a Word document or a notebook, or I also added to our list of things to discuss an audio or video journal. So if you don't want to write, but you're a natural talker, you could just create a bunch of audio files or like private video files of you just talking to yourself.
Oh, I don't know. I think we're gonna have an argument, Holly.
Oh, okay, okay.
Exciting.
Good. All right, let me know what you think of that. Does that not count as journaling?
I don't, it's not that it doesn't count. I just don't know if it would be as helpful. I
Mm,
think that there's is a certain magic
mm,
to putting pen to paper.
mm.
And to be honest, I feel the same way about digital journaling
Oh,
as I would about audio or video. I don't know, like maybe I'm just super old-fashioned, but I think that the you will get, I think, I mean, maybe this is maybe a little bit limited, but I would say that you would get the biggest transformation by really taking that space
mm.
without anything in between. It's just you and a pencil or you and a pen, you know? I don't know. What do you think?
I see what you're saying, but I'm not sure if I agree. Like, I feel like there must be people out there that could get big changes from audio video journaling. And it also makes me think about a lot of my podcast episodes, my old podcast episodes that were solo episodes, where I would be kind of reflecting on something that had been troubling me. And I would share with people what had been bothering me and how I was overcoming it. So that's a bit more than journaling. It's a bit different, but it
Mm.
still is me like pouring out my stuff and also sharing my experience and how I overcame that. But there is kind of an element to
Yeah, I don't know if anybody's listening
tell
and
us.
you use some kind of audio or video journaling method. I know a lot of people journal digitally, and I think that can work for certain things.
Mm,
But I'm just a big fan of the
me too.
paper and
Me too.
pen.
Me too. Also because I like to go back and
Mm,
refer to old journals, and that's
sure.
going to be a lot hard to do in an audio or video.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think for me, there's also an element of like how slow writing is. It does slow you down. Like I
Yeah.
find I use digital writing for, you know, one or two things as well for the same reason. So for example, when I channel,
Mm.
I prefer to type in
Oh.
because it goes faster and I don't have time then to think about what's coming through.
Oh, interesting. See,
Yeah.
I'm different in that aspect. When I channel, I prefer to either handwrite it out or record myself.
Oh, and I hate recording myself, as I say that while recording myself for this. Yeah, how interesting. Okay, so maybe I need to take it back
No,
and
no, I'm
acknowledge that, you know, that people might. So if you're listening to this and you don't know which way you'd prefer, maybe it's worth, you know, experimenting and seeing what will work for you, maybe for various things
yeah.
as well.
But circling back to the question you originally asked, I think even if you don't consider yourself to be a writer or you think you're not a good writer, still try writing it. Try it, because you might be surprised.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I think it's really important what you said, you know, that it's not about beautiful writing. Like you're not writing for anybody else.
Yeah.
In fact, I recently did a few weeks of journaling that I destroyed after every time I journaled. And it was for a very specific purpose. Actually, I'll link to that in the show notes. I discovered through a friend this pod about healing chronic pain.
Oh.
Yeah, and it was all to do with, you know, emotional undercurrents causing chronic pain. So this was really for conditions where like, you know, you've been to all the doctors and nobody
Yeah.
knows why you're in any pain, you know? And this woman, for the life of me can't remember her name, Rachel something, and she has a book coming out. I will link it in the show notes. She is absolutely amazing. And she has this podcast that's absolutely amazing. And her method is all about journaling, like from as if you were you know, you were a 5-year-old having a temper tantrum. So really allowing yourself the space to get all this like emotional crap out of
Mm,
your system, like the sludge, you know, the stuff that you don't
mm,
want to admit to, or,
mm,
you know, that makes you feel like a horrible person, or
mm,
the stuff that you don't even necessarily believe, but in that moment, you hate this person or
mm,
you have this really strong emotion. So to get all that stuff out so that it doesn't cause anything physically.
mm.
And I have found, so she, you know, she says that you should destroy it after. And I didn't. I wasn't destroying it because I was like, I'd like to go back on things and I'd
Yeah.
like to see how far I've come and whatever. But then I really found that I was censoring myself because I have this like romantic vision of my son sometime in the future after I'm dead, discovering all my journals and then looking through them. And of course, I don't want him to
Yeah.
read something that's not even true. It's just coming out in
Yeah.
anger or, whatever. So I gave myself permission. In fact, I gave myself instruction to tear it up as soon as I journaled it. And
Hmm.
oh man,
Yeah.
was that freeing. I
Yeah.
did not anticipate like how much garbage I was willing to put down on paper, knowing that it was going to go in the trash that very minute.
Oh,
Yeah,
I love
amazing.
that. I love that. Okay, I look forward to reading the link when you
Yeah,
get it because
amazing.
I want to try this.
Yeah, very, very cool. I'll link to the podcast and I'll link, she has a page on her website with the process explained.
Nice.
And she has a book coming out, which will be,
Yay.
I'm sure, amazing. Anyway, so yeah, so I don't know what we were talking about, Holly. Do you?
We started out talking about how to keep a diary like when you're 12, where you just write your stuff down.
All right, so different kinds of journaling. So that could
Yeah.
be, for emotional release. You could do it in various ways, including this one that I just talked about. Yeah, I kept a diary when I was 12, and so that was really to document my life. I mean, I suppose I was processing things that were going on, but it was really just documenting my life. And obviously, you can do that now too. So I actually for years did like more personal growth journaling, and I refused to just document my life because I didn't want to just like dwell on
Mm,
the problems or
mm.
dwell on negative stuff in my head. I wanted to like move forward through things. But in fact, I was listening to an audiobook recently about writing, and this lady was talking about how, how what a big part of her life journaling has been, and including just documenting her life, just literally like sitting down and documenting how she feels about whatever's happening today. And she said that she really regrets not doing it at key points of her life,
Yeah.
like when she was pregnant. And that really touched me. I mean, I did not do it when I was pregnant with my son, and I would have loved
Mm,
to have that now, to
mm.
read what I was thinking and what I was worrying about
Yeah.
and what was affecting me in whatever way. So I actually have started a practice recently of documenting things and just writing down like what's in the news, like anything that's on my mind, really. Like if I read something disturbing in the news, which is not difficult at the
Yeah.
moment, and just noting down how I feel about it. And I'm hoping that future me is going to find this absolutely fascinating and a gem to discover. So you can document your life as an adult too, if
Yeah.
that's something that speaks to you. Another kind of journaling that's very, very popular is morning
Mm.
pages. You've heard
Yeah.
of those, I presume. I think I hear about them from you
You
originally?
might have. I did them about 10 or 11 years ago. Not a
Right.
fan.
You're not a fan.
Well, I
Okay.
don't
Okay, wait.
know.
Let's explain what they are
Yeah.
first.
Yeah.
So morning pages come from a book called The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron, and they're essentially a practice of getting all the stuff out of your head every morning. So you wake up and at some point during your morning time, you write, what is it, 3 pages, she says, I think.
Three A4 pages.
Three A4 pages of just whatever's in your head, like without stopping and without editing. And you're not supposed to like go back and read this stuff. This is really just so that your brain is free of all the clutter as you kind of enter your proper day. So, why are you not a fan, Holly?
Well, like it sounds good. Like as you explain it, I think, yeah, that sounds good. But I don't know if this is because I was recommended to do it by this old business coach of mine back in like 2014, and I did it every day for a year. And this was also a very challenging year for me. So a lot of it was just really negative, and I felt like it made me dwell on the negative, and I don't feel like it was helpful. And I also really struggled to fill the three pages, but I forced myself to do it.
Mm.
So it would take me like an hour. I don't know, it took a really long time. So I felt like it was a big chunk of time to do something that I hated, and it didn't make me feel good.
Yeah.
There's something similar. I don't know whether you want to give me your opinion on. morning pages, and then I'll tell you something that's similar but different that has helped me.
Okay, so I have tried morning pages in the past, and I have to say I've had a similar experience to
Okay.
you. I like I'm a rule follower in one way, but then
Yes.
if yeah, so I'll make myself do it
Yep.
like prescribed, but then yeah, that's the autistic brain has certain things. However, on the other hand, if it's has no purpose, then I really struggle, and I
Yeah.
did find that it wasn't actually helping me.
Yeah.
So I had to change that practice into something else, and then it was different to morning pages. So I'd be curious to hear what you want to explain
Mhm.
next, a different but similar
Yeah.
thing.
So I loved it. So I started briefly therapy last year, late last year. I got this email from the NHS saying, hey, if you want therapy, we have no waiting times. Click here. So I thought, well, I've never really had great luck with therapy, but it's free, so I'll try it. The best therapist ever. They gave me 4 sessions with her. It was CBT therapy. She was delightfully young. She was probably fresh out of grad school. So good. The best therapist I've ever had. Loved her to death. Anyway, she taught me this thing called worry time. You do it for a maximum of 20 minutes. 10, 15, 20 minutes max. If you having anxiety and worrying about stuff, you take a page in your journal, you write all the stuff that you worry about. I'm worried about this, I'm worried about that, I'm worried about this. You get it all out of your head and onto the paper, and then you do an activity that breaks you out of that worry time. It's a transition activity. You can either go for a quick walk or have a cup of tea or do something. I do kettlebells.
Of course you do.
But
Sorry.
it's good to do something physical because it gets you out of your head and you swing the kettlebell and then you go on with your day. So I have found that really useful and I started doing it every day and then I realized I just wasn't worrying anymore. I stopped worrying.
No, I don't believe you.
Yes, yes, yes. So this is kind of like morning pages in that you're dumping stuff out of your head, but it's specifically the stuff that you're worried about. You break it with the kettlebells and then you go on with your day and then you eventually don't need to do it anymore because you've cleaned the crap out of your head. It's amazing.
Okay, this is like a revelation, and I swear to God, like I don't believe you.
I've had a rough last couple of years and I've done a lot of worrying. And so I find it really strange that my head has been cleared of worries, but it's so good.
Okay, well, I am definitely trying now. I did not think that you would present something that I had not heard about. Like I have done all the journaling all the time, right?
You have not done worry
I
time.
have not done worry time. But I will be doing worry time later today, Holly, because
Good,
I'm
but
worried about lots of things.
good, good, good. Dump it all out, but remember to find some easy activity that's going to get you out of that space.
Now, just
You
one
can do
question.
star jumps or
Sure,
whatever.
sure.
Something physical is really good.
Yeah. So, does it have to be on one topic? Like, can I choose one
No,
topic? No.
all your worries, all your worries. I'm worried about this, I'm worried about that, I'm worried about the other, I'm worried about this. All the stuff that you would normally be worrying about at night before you're gonna fall asleep,
Mm-hmm.
all that stuff. And I've stopped doing that. I don't worry at night before I
Okay.
fall asleep.
I'm sorry. We're gonna have to stop recording this now because I have to go and journal about my worries.
It's
No, okay,
so
okay,
good.
fine, fine. Let's just continue. But I don't know how we can top this. So I don't see how there's any point. Okay, so right, worry time. Okay, that's the clear winner so far. So different kinds of journaling. Other things you can journal on is problem solving.
Yeah.
Like if you don't know what to do about something, I do this
Mm,
all the time. Like
yes.
sometimes it's good to talk it out. But sometimes, I don't know, like I've had so many experiences where like if I just talk it out with a friend or, various friends or my husband, like I just feel like we're going around in circles and I need new information.
Mm,
And somehow only journaling sometimes can do that. Now I've also had experiences where I just go around in circles in the journal too, which means, something else is necessary. But I have had success with problem solving. What
mm.
do you think? Have you?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I tend to ask my husband if I have a problem because he's really, really good at giving advice. But Yeah, I think I use it more for the next thing we're going to talk about, which is getting clarity on the
Yeah,
problem.
as I was actually talking about it and reading the next thing we were going to talk about, I was like, actually, maybe that's what it is. Because the
Yeah,
next thing we wanted to talk about was getting clear on something you're experiencing. Like if
yeah.
you've reacted a particular way, like if you were triggered by something or you did something that you don't fully understand what you did or said or what it means or whatever, then, getting that clarity through journaling is really, really good. And for the problem solving, probably what I was remembering was experiences where I didn't know what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And so using journaling to get clear on what it is that I wanted from this situation or what I wanted to happen. So
Mm,
it's the clarity piece, isn't it?
mm, yeah. So
So you
good.
you use it for that a lot for clarity, do you?
Yeah, I do. I do. Like this thing is going on, like dump about it. Like what do I think about it? How do I feel about it? Like all that
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. And new information comes somehow, doesn't
Yeah.
it?
Yeah.
Like I feel like with all of these, all of these kinds of journaling, like the first step is always to dump stuff out. And I feel
Mm,
like the gold, the actual insight, the truth is somewhere underneath all the stuff on the layer on top, the surface level. And we collectively don't do enough to like dig under that. And we're too
yeah.
concerned with the stuff that's on the surface, right?
Yeah.
Right. You could also journal for personal growth, like on a guided question or a topic like what do I want from 2025 or like what kind of person do I want to be
Mm,
or who do I really admire and why,
mm,
right?
hmm.
Do you use guided questions or topics like that?
Yeah, so in my book, The Year You Want, it's full of those kinds of questions. So I've collected them over the years through like coaching, training, and coaching people and like that kind of thing. And so I kind of put them all together in the book. And so I have that as a reference if I ever want to journal that kind of journaling stuff.
And I mean, you include questions like that in all your books. It's not just that one, right?
Yeah. My business mindset books have a lot of questions like that. So
I have some of your books. I need to go back to
Oh,
the questions. I'm sure I did so just if you're not aware of Holly's body of work so far, all her books come with an accompanying, well, they don't come with, but you can
yeah,
get an
yeah,
accompanying workbook.
yeah, just
Um,
about all the books, yeah.
and just as an aside, because we were talking about this before we started recording, why do you publish separate workbooks of these questions?
Because I ask a lot of questions in my books, like questions for the reader to reflect on. And I find that when I'm reading a book like that and the writer's asking me questions, I don't stop and journal on it. And I just keep reading and I forget the questions and I forget that there were questions, but I wanted to answer the questions, but I just move on with life and it doesn't happen. And so I wish that more authors would either have like a PDF download that you could get with all the questions, or like I do, a journal that has all the questions and space to answer the questions. So that's why I do it because it's like I want to answer the questions, I want to get more or get the most out of a book, but I need it to be easy.
Yeah, I like we were just talking about this before we recorded, and like I think that's just genius. Like adding in the workbooks because I have
Mm.
the same problem. Like I read all these personal development books, and for me, like reading and journaling are two separate activities.
Yep.
So I can't actually do both of them at the same time, and I'll forget the questions and I won't
Yeah.
bother writing them down separately. Like it's just not going to happen. So
Yeah.
I would also love either a separate workbook I can purchase or a PDF document would be plenty. Like then I
Mm.
just print that out and then I have those
Yep.
questions to refer to.
Yep.
I think that's really awesome. Okay, so another kind of journaling that I'm sure we have both experimented with. Yeah. Automatic writing or channeling. So this is like where you can do this in so many different ways. I actually have a mini course on this that I'll link to as well. It's part of
Mm.
an intuition bundle that I have. But you can do it in so many different ways. I'm trying to like decide where to start. But essentially, automatic writing or channeling would be like where you are writing, journaling from the perspective of spirit, or from the perspective of your soul, or from the perspective of, like an angel or an ascended master. You can really do it with anything. And I have had great fun and success and insight from doing this. Even like a simple practice where I write a letter. I love writing letters that I don't send. Like that is one of my main journaling like set activities. At times like the new moon or the full moon or whatever, I like write a letter to your soul
Hmm.
from yourself, whatever you want your soul to know. Like, stop pissing me off, or be clearer, like where am I supposed to go next? Whatever. And
Hmm.
then challenge yourself to write a letter from your soul to yourself. And that is just such an interesting practice, right? And you can do this in a different, you can do this in different ways. You can just do it. Just try to get your mind out of the way and just,
Mm.
just write it, just let it flow through. Some people do it with their non-dominant hand.
Oh,
Yeah, which I don't like, but some people really like.
that would be a
Uh,
disaster.
Yeah, but some people do like that because
Yeah.
it gets their brain in a different position, kind
Yeah.
of thing. So you can do it in lots of different ways, and you can do it with lots of different entities. Like I think we've both been part of programs, Holly, where we were writing letters to money and
Yes.
then letters from money to us. And that's the same
Yes.
thing. You're essentially channeling the energy of money, the
Yeah.
vibration of money with messages to you. So it's definite this one, if you're going to try it, like it's definitely a practice, and it definitely gets easier and you get better at it the
Yeah.
more you do it. So, like, don't get discouraged if it doesn't come super easily the first time, but it's worth pursuing. Like, it's a good one, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It's good. It's good. It's been ages since I've done that.
So, have you done anything besides letter writing? Like, how do you do any channeling into writing?
So yeah, so sometimes when I'm channeling, I'll be writing it down rather than recording
Mhm.
it. So yeah, so that is one way that I channel.
Yeah. And then the letter writing as well, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's so good.
Yeah.
And now that I don't think I've done it in a while, actually, like you. So
Mm.
now I'm like, I should probably get back to that.
Yeah.
And new moon, full moon time is just a nice marker
Yeah.
for stuff like that.
Yeah.
Right. And then we have bullet journaling, which I'm not going to go into because it's like a whole separate topic.
Yeah, it's like a
We,
religion.
yeah, it's like a religion. Bullet journaling is awesome. My personal system is based on bullet journaling, I suppose. Like that's where I started with bullet journaling, and then it evolved. So, but that's more of like an organizational system. I said it's not really for your emotions or anything like that. It's really to capture, things you need to do and ideas you have, and just to have a system for capturing the stuff that like randomly appears in your brain so that you
Mm.
don't forget it. And last but not least, creative and art journaling, right?
Hmm.
Just to underline like that you could add art to your journaling
Hmm.
or like not use words at all.
Hmm.
So before we started recording, Holly remembered that she used to do art journaling. So can you tell us more about how you used to do it?
Yeah, so I have a special notebook of like art paper. It's like really thick paper so it doesn't get messed up from the paint. And I used to paint. So the way I used to do it was I would just paint. I would paint on the right-hand side of the page, whatever, just free painting, whatever occurred to me. It wasn't a head-based process, it just flowed. And then I would look at it and I'd be like, well, what does that mean to me? What do I think about that? And then I would start writing, kind of free writing based on the art on the left-hand side of the page. So that's how I used to do it. But, however you want, you can just do the art.
Yeah. Or like people do like a doodle a day or something, like
Yeah.
or like I have an art journal now as well, because that's one of my personal creative projects. And I do whatever I feel like doing in there. Like I experiment with paint, I experiment with mixed media stuff. I do a lot of collaging because I love collaging. And yeah, and sometimes I use words and sometimes I don't use words.
Mm.
So you just have to just experiment, I suppose, and see what you like. But it's worth looking into as well.
That's interesting that you mentioned collaging because a lot of times, even in my normal journal, I'll like paste stuff into it. Like sometimes if I get like a seed catalog and I'm like, oh my God, this particular page of flowers I really like and I don't want to forget about them. So I'll like cut them out and paste them into my journal. So
Yeah.
just stuff. I will add stuff to my normal written journal as well.
I I do that as well. And I have to mention stickers then as well, because I'm a total like
Yes.
sticker fiend.
Mhm.
Like I've become some kind of a sticker fiend. And I add those to I keep like an organizational journal that kind of I take through my day, that has a particular system to it. And I just use like I don't have the space in it to like paste in pictures
Mm,
from magazines or whatever, but I use stickers in it all the time.
mm,
And it just brings me so much joy to have that kind of creativity, on something that's quite mundane,
mm.
but like sticking a laundry sticker next to a reminder to do the laundry, like is just makes it better.
Yeah.
Stickers make everything better.
Yeah. I actually chose my annual planner, like my planner that I use for like life this year because it came with stickers and the other
Really
ones didn't. Yeah. So I took them out of this and I use them in my journal.
amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
love it.
Yeah,
Stickers.
yeah, stickers are so awesome. Right. So now that you have some ideas of like what kind of journaling you might want to try, let's talk about where to journal. So we've touched on this a little bit already because we talked about digital audio or video journaling, as opposed to on paper.
Yeah.
So we don't have to repeat that. But what about like how many journals you should even have, Holly? How many journals do you have or keep?
Just one at a time because I used to have
What?
different things for different things, and then I realized it was impossible to like I kept forgetting about some of the journals I had, and it was impossible to like go back in time and find something because I didn't know where exactly it was going to be. So now that I've got everything in one place, I know what dates that old journal corresponds to, and I can find it.
Okay, so but you're super, or you have a very cool organizational system. So tell us about your tabs, Holly. Like
My tabs.
yeah, how do you actually find stuff in your old journals?
So when I have something that I know I'm going to be referring back to, whether that's like my annual Oracle card planning or my running plan for the year or anything that I know that I'm going to refer to, I have little plastic tabs that I buy online and I write the category or whatever the title and then I stick it on that page and I've got like all the tabs on the top of the journal and I can just easily flip to whatever it is I want to find.
Now, I think this is also absolutely genius. Like, I have never thought of doing this. And there are, like, when you're keeping a journal, there will be things
Mm,
that you want to reference,
mm,
right?
yeah.
You want to look at again, like when you've had some kind of, I remember like having like a huge epiphany about like the whole structure of my business. And I could never find it again, Holly. It's really sad. I had to like try and recreate it.
Oh
And
my
it was just
God.
never the same. It must be somewhere in there. And one of these days, I'm going to go through my old journals and catalog them or something.
Yeah.
Now, what I would like to do is have indexes, and that's
Yeah.
what you're kind of supposed to have, but I just don't do them.
Yeah.
So,
I don't do that either.
yeah. So I actually, I find this tabs idea really good because when you write it, you know
Yeah.
that you're going to want to reference it,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So that's I think really really great. Now I don't keep just one journal. So I used to have the same problem that you described, where I used to have loads of different journals, but they weren't like it wasn't clear enough what they were for. And I think
Mm,
that's where the
yeah.
problem arose. So
Yeah.
then I could never find anything in anything, and it was a whole big mess. Then I went to one journal for everything,
Okay.
and I did that for a while. And then I hated it in the end because I would put things at I would put things at the beginning of the journal that were like more collections or things that I wanted to
Mm,
reference. But then I also used it for day-to-day stuff, and I didn't
mm,
like that my month was then interrupted with something
yeah.
that, I don't know, like it just didn't work for me. So, and then I wanted to try art stuff and I needed a thicker paper
Yeah.
and yeah. So for the last couple of years, I went back to having several journals, but I'm super clear on what they are, like, and what they're for and when they are to be used. So now I know where everything is, except for in my kind of like the thought processing, emotion processing journal where I will implement your tabs. And then
Okay,
I will know everything.
so what are the different types of journals you have?
Oh, okay. So I have one journal. I need to do a video about this because I feel like my system is clear enough now to share, you know?
Mm,
So I have a journal that's my day-to-day journal.
hmm
And I set up every month in there. I have a calendar and kind of some thoughts for the month. And then I set up every week in there with appointments and tasks. And then I do that on the left-hand side. And on the right-hand side, I have my daily
mm,
thoughts. So it's just kind of a journal that comes with me through my days, through my life. And it'll include anything from day to day. Obviously, if I have an idea during my day, that's where I'll put it. And the idea is then at the end of the month, when I do like a monthly recap, I always do a monthly recap, and then I also pull some cards on what I learned that month. And I do that in the same journal. And the idea is that I go back through the month and kind of take all the ideas and put them somewhere else so that they don't get lost
got it.
from that journal. So that's
I
my
like that.
day-to-day one. Yeah, I've honed this system to like work perfectly for my brain over like maybe the last 5 or 6 years. This is the
Uh-huh.
one that developed from bullet journaling,
Okay.
and I'm very happy with it now. So that's my main journal. Then I have a journal that's for my thoughts, for my journaling,
Mm,
like what we're talking about in this episode. And that is a separate thing, and that's kind of the one I pick up for anything where any of the things that we mentioned, in fact, except for art, you know? So anything about my thoughts or my emotions or my problem solving or my brain dumping or anything that I need to kind of hash out with myself.
mm,
I'll do that in there. Obviously, anything that I destroy after I just do on a random piece of
mm.
paper and I just destroy it. Then I have a reading journal
Oh,
where I put my book stuff separately because I like to then look back at my lists
mm.
and like I print out little photos of the covers.
Oh, wow.
It's a creative project. Like,
Wow.
yeah. Then I have an art journal where I experiment with things when I feel like I need some creativity. So like I might do something with like learning to do hand lettering, or if I do like an extra new moon soul collage or something, I'll put that in there. Anything really that I feel like trying
Mm,
art-wise. And then I also have separate journals for like collecting information.
hmm
So I have a tarot journal for anything to do with tarot, and that's more organized. I have one for astrology as well, because that's something I'm
Wow.
studying. So to keep all that information together. And then I have a commonplace book. Have you heard of that?
It sounds familiar, but
Yeah.
I have no idea what that is.
I'm sure you'll recognize it. So this is apparently like scholars and learned men from ancient times used to already keep commonplace books. It's essentially like a book of anything you want to remember. So everybody's commonplace book will look differently. Like if you're a bird watcher, you might want to write down notes about birds, you know.
Okay.
I write a lot of quotes. I'll write ideas that I want to maybe develop into, a podcast episode or a YouTube video or a book or whatever. Anything that I hear, like podcast notes. If I'm listening to a podcast and I want to remember some stuff, I'll put it in there. Like anything really that I don't want to lose track of.
See that I put it all that stuff I put in my main journal.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
then you
that's
just do your
interesting.
tabs.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I like to, I think my journal is just for thoughts and things. And of
Yeah.
course, if I go back, I'll find things that should probably be transferred to more of a reference journal. But yeah, but I've started that and I like that as well. And what else? And I did start, and I don't know if this will continue this way, but I did also start a business journal so that I can keep track of ideas for particular projects. So, for example, I run a group called Elevator, and I've been running this group for, I mean, years and years and years. It used to
Mm,
be called Soul Space, like I, I don't know, 7 years, 8 years, like it's been a long time.
yeah.
And it's gone through various iterations, and I always have ideas for it, you know? And if I put those ideas in various places,
Mm,
like they still pertain to the same topic, and
yeah.
I needed somewhere to put them together. So now my business journal has a section for like business advice, so like things I'll hear from business coaches or that I want to keep track of. that I maybe want to implement or try.
Mm-hmm.
I have a section for content ideas, and I have a section for elevator, which is the main part of my business.
Okay. Yeah, see that's I used to have a separate business notebook, but then I would forget that I had it.
Yeah.
And so now I have everything digital. I have like Apple Notes for everything
Yeah.
and
No.
Google
Yeah.
Docs.
Yeah, I tried digital and it does not work for me. I can't stand it. Like I tried to do all my like business planning and stuff and life planning in Notion. I'm a big
Oh,
fan
I
of the
hate
app.
Notion.
Oh, right. See, everybody has different things they like. But when I realized that I love pen and paper
Yeah.
and color and stickers and
Yeah.
whatever, that I just made notebooks for all the things that I
Yeah.
want. And I just have them here in a stack right next to my desk. So
Wow.
I just pull out whichever one, needs my attention or that I need something from. And I'm very, very happy with my system.
Good.
So,
Good.
so there you go. You asked me a very simple question and
No, but I'm curious because like I just have generally one journal at a time and I still have 20 journals on my bookshelf. Like it's a lot.
I
So
know.
that makes me curious.
Oh, yes. Well, I won't show you right now, but yeah, it's a lot. So yeah, but I'm very, I think the key is to start with whatever feels good to you and then be willing to change your mind because
Yeah.
you will need to kind of go with the flow, the seasons of your life. You'll need different things at different times. You want to try different things at different times. And I think like, I don't know, like I've been kind of trying things for so long. I'm really happy with my system now.
Yeah.
And there have been parts of my system that have continued for a really long time now. So I know that they
Mm,
serve me and I know that
mm,
I'm lost without them.
mm.
And you can only get to that stage if you stick to it and are willing to try new things
Yeah.
and yeah, just keep focusing on what helps you, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, it's a system that you've developed over years
Yeah,
of trial and error.
years. Yeah. And yours is too. Like you've
Yeah.
tried the different notebooks, you've
Yeah.
tried. So you have to see what works for you. And lots of people have a mixture of digital
Yeah.
and paper.
Yeah.
So you just have to find what works. Okay, so how long does your journaling take, Holly?
That I added that because I'm really curious to know how long your journaling takes. So once I started the worry time last year with my therapist, I blocked out a half an hour in my calendar daily to do that. Now I don't have any worries.
Oh my God.
So I use that as my journaling time and my gratitude time. So I have a half an hour blocked out every day for gratitude, journaling, whatever. And sometimes that's 45 minutes. Sometimes it's a little bit more, sometimes it's less, but like I have the time blocked out in my calendar so it happens.
Okay. I don't have any time blocked out because I don't do blocking time in my calendar anymore because I have my notebook and that's what I follow. However, I start every working day with just me and my journal.
Hmm.
So that's a practice that I've had for many, many, many years. And it kind of depends, like how long it takes will depend on what's happening in there.
Hmm. Yeah.
So sometimes I'm distraught about something and it'll take longer. Sometimes it'll literally be like, I have nothing to say today. I just want to get to work because I'm really excited about whatever I'm doing, or I
Yeah.
have a really busy day and this just feels like it's not what I need right now. So I really just go with the flow of whatever it needs.
Hmm.
I will say that sometimes I journal at the beginning of the afternoon instead because that's how long it takes for something to like appear in my head that needs attention. I've just become very, very aware of what's inside. And so I just go with
Hmm.
whatever's needed. And then I will do specific, like longer journaling sessions on specific things if I need them. I will do something maybe, for new moon, full moon, or if I know I need something, if I
Yeah.
know I need some kind of insight or I don't know what
Yeah.
I need, then I will. What I've actually started doing is pulling out my own journal. So I recently published my first journal.
Oh yeah.
which is like a guided oracle and tarot journal. And if I don't know what to ask, then I pull that out and I use my own journal as an oracle. So instead of choosing a question, I just open it to whatever page and then I deal with that question. So that's been really fun. Or I just pull a card, what should I explore today or what do I need to know right now? And I pull
Mm.
a card and I journal on that. So it all depends on what I need. I really go by need rather
Yeah.
than I have to journal every day.
Yeah. Yeah. So I have the time blocked out in the morning. Sometimes the morning is busy and that gets pushed to later in the day. And then sometimes I do extra stuff. Like one thing that I didn't mention earlier is I do all my Psych K balances in my journal as well. When I first trained in Psych K, I did not keep a record of what I was balancing for, and I'm very, very, very sad about that. So all of my Psych K balances that I do with myself are also in my journal because I want to keep track of what I'm balancing for and when I'm starting to see the effects of that.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, this is like a whole different conversation. So first of all, Psych K is a way to work with your subconscious to align your subconscious beliefs with the goals that you have in life. It's a system or a modality that Holly and I are both trained in. But how do you keep track of it? Like how do you then, like you say you like to keep notice progress,
Mm.
but how do you know when
I
the
just
last
flip,
time? Okay.
which I just flip through my old journals and I read what I've balanced for, and I see like when that started to shift for me or when I started seeing the shifts, and sometimes I'll make extra notes in on that page.
Okay, that's really interesting because I'm really all for finding a way to track progress. And in fact,
Yeah.
the journal that I created, it has space for that. So at the top of each page, it has a question, and then it has space for three cards that you pull.
Mm.
And you can pull them all in one day if you want, if you feel like it's a multifaceted thing. But the way it's intended to be used is that you fill in those sections at different times and you see how you progress.
Mm.
So last time the answer was this. This time the answer is this. So how
Mm.
this topic progressed for me, or how have I grown during this time? And have I done the things from that first piece of guidance?
Mm.
So I find that, anything that has to do with tracking progress
Yeah.
on things like this, I find it fascinating.
Yeah.
Okay, so you include all that in your journals as well.
Yeah.
Wow. It's kind of cool then that you have everything in one place actually, because then you see
Yes.
exactly where you were.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, I see like a snapshot of the
Yeah.
month of whatever from whatever year. What was my business doing? What were my thoughts on my business? What was I balancing on in Psych K? What was this? What was that? Like I kind of have all the different areas from that one point in time.
Hmm. I like that. How messy are your journals? Like that, are they nice to look at?
Yeah, I think so. Hold on. What is my
This is a weird question that we
So
weren't
I
planning on.
always use A4 size journals because I like to have big pages to like spread out and like
Okay.
write. I think they're pretty neat. I mean, I've got like yeah, I mean, I've got like lists and things. Oh, God, I
Mhm.
can't.
Yeah,
It's
you're all
not.
blurry. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm blurry. Right.
Yeah,
So I've
that's
got
fine.
I've got a lot of lists of things,
Okay.
and when I do the Psych K, I number the balances that I'm doing, and then I highlight them with teal highlighter, like a turquoise highlighter, which is the color of Psych K, which also makes it easy to find in the future when I'm
That is
flipping
cool.
through my journals.
But when
So
you're journaling on like something emotional that you're trying to process, like, are you paying any attention to how neat your handwriting is?
no, 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 but my
Okay.
handwriting's never really terrible.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
It's
Hmm.
always legible.
I mean, I'm not going to consolidate all the journals that I listed because those are for specific purposes, but I do feel like I want to make more of the day-to-day journal that I have.
Mm,
I would love to look back on a month and see exactly what's going on and what work I was
yeah.
doing. And people use journals. I don't actually do this at the moment, but like for things like magic, people use journals to see, how their spells are working
Yeah,
or
I
even
do.
like, yeah.
Yeah. I've actually got a page at the start of my journal with a list of all this magical stuff that I'm working on, and I can see things are starting to happen and come true.
Really
Yeah.
very interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hmm. Oh man, I'm gonna need more journals. Yeah.
I just went to Ryman's last week to get something spiral bound, a book that I'm working on for a client. And I saw that not only did they have the biggest display of notebooks that I've ever seen, and the most colors I've ever seen, and the most sizes that I've ever seen, but they were 2 for 1. So I
Oh
bought
my
4.
God. Of course you did. Yeah. I'm surprised you only bought 4, honestly. Oh yeah, I'm
Yeah.
definitely a sucker for a nice notebook. And I
They
mean,
had,
until now, so for my daily journal, I use a B5
oh, it's a nice size.
um grid journal.
Okay.
Yeah. So like bullet journal type
Yeah.
journal, with really thick paper, the thickest you could get,
Nice.
so that I can do art in there if I want to, or add color or whatever. And so for a while I was only using that, and then I was so sad because I couldn't buy the pretty notebooks. 'Cause I didn't need
Uh,
an A5 or an A4,
uh,
you know.
I hate A5. It's
Yeah.
too small for
Yeah,
me.
A5 is too small.
But
But
all the
also,
prettiest ones are A5.
yeah,
It annoys me.
yeah. Well, I think I use an A5 for my book journal.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. But I think, I bought this really great, beautiful journal cover. Yeah, that I use. So basically I just replaced the journal inside.
Oh,
Yeah. However, it's not an A4 size. It's like I think it is a B5 probably. And so not many notebooks fit in there.
yeah.
And so I feel like maybe I need an A4 sometimes as well. Like sometimes
Mm.
it feels a bit small. But anyway, that's kind of besides the point. All right. Are we done or are we?
No, we've got one
No.
more topic.
One more topic.
But I mean, yeah.
We kind of talked about this already.
Yeah, we kind of
Um,
talked about some of it.
yeah, so if you want to get started, like how do you know what to journal on? So first of all, like I think that practice that we mentioned of just taking your journal and just like asking yourself, like, how am I doing? Like, what am I feeling? Like, what am I worried about? What am I obsessed with? Like, what am I thinking about right now?
Hmm.
Anything that's going round and round in your head, whether that's a question or a problem or an issue or whatever, like that's where you start. Because until you like get that out of your head or make some kind of progress, like that's going to influence everything else. It's going to clog up your head and it's going to affect the rest of your day, right?
Hmm.
Yeah, is that how you start as well, Holly?
Yeah, exactly. Just
Yeah.
whatever I feel I need. I just
Yeah,
kind of go with my
exactly.
gut. Like if I'm working on something and I'm like, oh, my beliefs are messing me up, I need to do psyche, then I open the journal and I do the psyche.
Yeah.
If, I've got something that's worrying me, I do that. Like it's
Yeah.
whatever I feel like I need.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Then if I don't know what it is I need,
Yeah.
as I said, I either pull an oracle or a tarot card, or more recently my own journal that I created. I'm going to create so many more because I just love asking questions. And I actually love the way I use it now as an oracle in itself. So
Hmm.
like what question would be best for me to explore now? And I
Ah,
just go to that question. It's really cool.
wow.
Yeah. So I do that, and there's plenty of inspiration everywhere.
Yeah.
You can even Google, journal questions or whatever.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then obviously you were going to say something, Holly?
I just thought of another way that I journal. We're going to add to this forever. No, but another thing that's related to what we were just saying, if you don't know what to journal on, and I found this online, is the alphabet. So you write down the alphabet, A, B, C, D, blah, 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 down one side of your page. Then you just write the first word that comes to mind out of each of those letters. And then you go back through and you look for patterns. Like what is there a theme? Like art, is there a category? Like what are the things that are showing up in that? And then you can free journal on that and use that to explore.
Have you done this?
Yes, it's amazing.
Really?
Yeah.
Did you find patterns?
Yes. It sounds really weird, but it works.
And have you done it more than once?
Yes,
And you've had different words?
of course, yeah.
Of course. I'm like, I just feel like I'll always say
There
the
are
same
many
word.
words in the English language.
I know, but I just feel like, like A is for apple. Like
No,
I feel like I'll always say apple.
no,
Huh.
try it.
Interesting. Yeah,
Try
I
it.
will. I will.
So that's a good thing
Absolutely.
to do if you feel off, but you don't know even how to journal about that.
Yeah.
Alphabet.
Oh, that's a really good way because that's the problem. Like sometimes you know exactly what your problem is
Yeah.
that you need to journal on, but sometimes not so much, and you need a little help, right?
Yeah.
Now, I'm absolutely obsessed with, asking powerful questions. I have a freebie of powerful questions on all sorts of topics that I will link here as well. And if you want even more guidance, in my elevator group, I channel a message from my spirit team every week, every Friday. And I send out that message and a series of journal prompts. And recently, I've started adding another series of prompts specifically to use with Oracle and Tarot cards. So like that's your weekly practice sorted because like I basically tap into the energetic weather. And so the message is always spot on. And whatever you're asked to explore through the questions is always like what is going on in the energy field. Like I get so much confirmation. I have loads of people in my group who are into astrology, which I'm just a beginner at. Like I'm just starting to study, but they're commenting all the time, like saying, oh my God, like this is exactly what this planet is doing, or this is the theme for this week or whatever. So like it's always really spot on. And I always do my own questions from that email as well. And that's just really helpful because sometimes you just don't know like how to get started, or sometimes I think you get stuck in that worry loop. So if you're not using Holly's worry time thing, but rather just journaling on whatever's in your head, sometimes it can be negative and it's not helpful then because you're just perpetuating old stories. You're not actually helping yourself move through things. And the elevator messages and the prompts like essentially give you a theme to practice your intuition around. So you get a theme and then you get to like explore it to find what you think about that, how you feel about this, like, and the questions are always really good because Avalon and questions, well, yeah, they're really, really good. So I'll link that as well. And I'm sure there are loads of other ways to find things to journal on. It could be something you heard in a podcast or like this one, or something somebody said, or like anything that sticks in your mind, right?
Yeah.
So I think the point is you should do it.
Give it a try.
Because it has so many benefits and so many entry points and like so many ways around whatever blocks you've decided you have around journaling. And I don't think there's anything better for that conversation with self, because meditation is not the same.
No, on the contrary, you're trying to not think during meditation.
Yeah, that's true.
It's like the exact opposite.
Okay, clearly I'm doing it wrong. All right, we're going to finish now because this has been a lot longer than we expected it to be. Anything else you want to add, Holly?
No, just give it a try and see how it goes.
Yeah, let us know how it goes.
Yes.
And we hope you try it. Yes. And we hope you have loads of success with it and loads of insights. All right, we are done. We will definitely see you in another episode. Bye-bye. Yes.